Hey everyone, my name is Marisa Maggio with Family First Life Solidity out of Boston, Massachusetts. I'm super excited to be here today with Ruby producer Yoori. Welcome, Yoori. So super excited to have you in today. So I don't want to speak too much for Yoori, but Yoori's come in and really just kind of blown the doors off this thing, coming from a different company that she did not use leads. So just being able to transition properly and adequately has been really beautiful to see. With that being said, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of what you were doing before Family First Life and kind of what got you into Family First Life.
So before Family First Life, I was with the practice company, but only for about 11 short months or so. And before that, I was in the fashion industry. That first company that I started out my insurance career with, they definitely didn't use leads. So I had to work through my warm market. And, you go in, they want a list of 100 names or, the whole deal that other people have to go through. And I thought that was just how it was done. And I got it done, and I still made $100,000 in the first 11 months. And the thing that stood out to me the most was that I was the only one who hit that, and it was so celebrated. And I was like, wait, but 100,000, it's not that much money that it should be celebrated across the whole company, And I came across Family First Life, fortunately, just by a total accident. I wasn't really looking or anything because I didn't know, that there was anything better out there. I was so new to the industry. And honestly, the thing that brought me over here was just the money, just the comp. This is my livelihood. It's all of our livelihood. And I come, and the culture here is great. The comp here obviously is great. The 100,000 that I made there in basically 1 year going through my personal market, I made that here in 1 month, a couple months ago. And I'm just a testament to the system, it's impossible. I did nothing different except I just
I want to pause you right there, Yoori, just because I think that's such a great point. You brought up that, you made $100,000 at your practice company in about a year. Yeah. And then you came over here, you issued $98,000 in 1 month.
Yeah.
So you essentially made here what you made there in 1 month to a year. So,
1 year.
And that's insane. And that goes to show from comp and leads and working the system, right? So, you've been a great testament to that in so many ways. When you came in, though, going from a company where you weren't using leads to a company now where, we mainly use leads, what did that look like, feel like for you?
At first, it was scary. I'm sure it's scary for everybody because we're not used to buying leads, but I just had such great belief that if I bought, it would translate into cash flow. I saw your numbers, I saw you doing it every week in and out, and I'm she's gonna help me. I don't know where the belief came from, but I'm so grateful because I just knew if I spent 1,000, I was gonna make 10,000. That was just the math for me. So my first lead batch that I bought, I made $0. And it was scary, buying into the second batch because I had made nothing. But from the second batch up until now, I have never not made money off of the lead. So it just, the first batch, it was just me. I didn't know what I was doing. Not that I do now, but so it's been great. And now I love it when I buy leads, and the more money I spend, the happier I get because that means I'm just going to make that much more.
Absolutely. You brought up a lot of great things there. One of the things you brought up was that 10-time multiplier, right? So you're saying if you're investing $1,000 into leads, you should be making $10,000 back, right? Mm-hmm. And that's because you actually work your leads, right?
Yeah.
So you work them right when they come in, week in, week out. But really quick to take a step back, you had said, on your first lead batch that you didn't make anything off of it, right? And you said it didn't feel that great. But I still went and I bought the second batch, right? You said because I knew that I was new to this, right? Mm-hmm. And you had a learning curve. Mm-hmm. And where do you think that belief came from to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try this one more time?
Because everybody else was making it work. And then there's just no way that I can't figure it out. Maybe I just need more time, and I was tripping myself up because like the 1 year experience that I had, I thought like I knew something, and I wasn't really completely following the system because I thought that I knew what to do. So but if everybody else was making it work, like why not me?
Absolutely. So you had that mentality of if everyone around me is doing it, how could I not do it?
Yeah.
And in your first couple of months, you were always issuing like $20,000-$30,000 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there you kind of exploded, which is great. But at the beginning, and when you first got started, what type of leads were you working?
100% instant internet. Like around the time I came into the company, that's when instant internet leads got launched, and I was lucky enough. I was just on the CRM like every 15 or 30 minutes and just buying up everything. 100% instant internet leads like all over my state. And that's all I did exclusively until I made like my first 120,000. I think I made that in the first 3.5 months.
So you made 120,000 or so in your first 3.5 months, all off of instant internet leads, which is, it's amazing. It's not shocking, but it's amazing because you can just come in and from a completely different model, adopt this model, follow the system. And then I feel like you kind of seen that fall into place almost piece by piece, month by month. So to kind of segue back, I remember having a conversation with you and you had me laughing because but it was like it was dead serious. You said, I have some people I'm talking to and, they're complaining that there's no leads in their county. And do you remember what you told me?
I'm like, then go to the lead. Like you're not a tree, like you have a car, just get in and drive. Like we work out of the same county. Like how come like I'm able to buy leads, I'm able to run appointments and you're not?
Absolutely. So you took that excuse off the table. Yeah. You were like, okay, we're not trees, right? We can get in our car, we can drive, we can go to wherever the leads are, right? And I love that mentality. And I think that at this point now, you've kind of adopted a lead system and strategy that you follow month in, month out, and you have your husband on board with you, and you guys are on the same page. Mm-hmm. I think that's amazing because not all the time can a couple be in sync and to that extent. So will you talk a little bit about kind of where you live versus where you're running geographically and what that looks like in travel and some essentially sacrifice, so to say, that you made, but it's helped you make, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, so when I started out, I lived in LA County, Los Angeles County, and I was basically running the entire state. Like sometimes I drive up to Shasta County, which is basically like right by Oregon, or I worked a lot out of San Diego, and all the counties in between. And recently we moved down to Orange County. Only reason is just to be closer to San Diego County because I do a lot of appointments down there and I just don't want to waste the extra time driving. And so I run 3 counties. Of course, I still buy from CRM because that should be, I think that's everyone's lifeline. I also do mailers and BPL, but I specifically work out of 3 counties and I have a system down where because one of the counties is about 6 hours away from me. So it's the thing, if there are, and Southern California is, it's hard to find leads sometimes, but I'm sure that's the case for a lot of other counties out there all across the country. So I started driving up to the Bay Area because there were more leads there. So I kind of, grabbed one of the counties and now I run that. And then I go up every 2 weeks. I just put it into my schedule. Every 2 weeks, I'm just up there in that county. So I live in that county for about a week out of the month, and that's just my life now. And I love it because I went to college up there, so it's kind of like going back home. So it doesn't matter how many leads I get in through mailer, BPL, or how many I find on CRM. I'm up there every 2 weeks, to the day. And and I work the county, and I supplement with CRM leads, and if I have any downtime, which I mostly don't, it's back to back to back, and I only give myself 30 minutes driving time in between appointments, and there's a lot of traffic up there too, but somehow I make it work. And when I have free time, I go door knocking because I'm only up there twice a month. So I have to take advantage of every single minute.
Awesome. So you're really able to say, this is what my schedule looks like what your year looks like, essentially.
I love it. So I love structure. Like, I like to know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and you're not scared to travel. And I think that's why, one more reason, I should say, as to why you're able to produce at such a high volume. Pretty much month in and month out now at this point, you're issuing like 50,000 plus a month. And before we hopped on here, you were like, "Oh, I'm aiming for 100 grand in a month," and you were at 98. So you're
so mad at myself.
Yeah, you were. I was like, "And it's basically 100, but you'll see that number soon."
Yeah.
But with that being said, I think a lot of that attributes to your schedule and to your non-negotiables, and that's something that I feel like we talk a lot about here at Family First Life is those non-negotiables. Learning from Paul, Paul's taught me, and I'm sure you as well, just how important those things are. Because if you don't have those in line, like you said, your schedule, then you really don't have anything.
Yeah,
right?
And I'm out of business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what are some of your non-negotiables that you make sure you implement so that you can produce at a high volume versus maybe like somebody that might have the potential to produce at a high volume? Because in my personal opinion, anybody that's in this company who have the potential to do that. But what are some of the things that maybe you feel like people could implement to be able to produce at a higher volume?
It's just 100% leads. Like the more leads you have, the more money you're going to make, and there's just no other magic to it. Because like I'm not that good, but I just do a lot of appointments, because I get a lot of leads. So I try to spend at least 2,000 a week, up to 2,500. But I would love to spend more. Like I love it when I get leads in, because it just means I'm going to make more money. It's like, to me, I think of leads as just like, it's like a winning lottery ticket, but you're not going to get paid unless you like cash it in. That kind of like, it's money, but if you don't work it, you're not going to make it. Right. So it's just, if you buy more leads, and I know it can be scary, but just keep on buying new leads every week. At first, I have to admit, like I try to milk my first batch too, just, because I thought like I had to see profit before I can move on. But it's like every new week you need fresh batch of leads. Of course, you can still like go back to the old ones, but you need new inventory every week. And that's it. Like nothing else.
Right. Yeah. And I think that you're really big on that. It's just like you're like, just buy the leads.
Yeah.
Like just buy them. Right. And I think that's what kind of separates you from somebody who comes in and is scared to buy leads. That, like you said, it's normal to be nervous or hesitant, but you have to take that piece of action, because it's like you said, the lottery tickets, right? If we walked in and I bought 20 lottery tickets and you walked in behind me and you bought 200, who's more likely to win?
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing with
leads. It's just numbers. Exactly.
So I think that you've kind of broken this down into a complete numbers game, which is awesome. But kind of segueing into like phones, in-home, what were some of the things that maybe you struggled with on the phone that you're now able to overcome, or just a tip that you'd be able to give for the phones?
Just assume this, like assume you're going to book the appointment, right? Like first thing, like I used to struggle, like in the beginning when I started, I felt like I was asking them for an appointment, like, hey, like, do you have time this day or this day? But it's more like they already did the asking first by sending in that form. So you're not really calling to ask, you're calling to respond to their request. So I know it's very like simple, and it's like, yeah, of course it is what it is, but like that's the attitude that you need to have, because people can feel that over the phone. So it's kind of like, hey, like you sent in this request, like I'm going to be in your area this day or this day, like when are you free? And then same thing with like in-home too. Like, I mean, they invited you to their house, like they're getting a policy. Like, I'm not going to ask if they want a policy. I'm going to write a policy. And, why else would I go? Like, why else would a complete stranger invite me over? Like, they don't know, like they don't look like that, So, and then this just, like, I have a funny story. Like, my first appointment ever, like, from my second batch of leads, I did everything wrong because I thought I knew the industry kind of and how to do appointments, and my practice company was all about education. Like, it was about educating clients. And it wasn't about like just going to close, So I walk in, like I did everything wrong. Like we're sitting on their couch and the guy's watching TV. He's like, after work, he's like practically like laying down on the couch. Like the kids are running around, like the dog. I'm like playing with the dog. Like everything wrong. I was there for almost 3 hours. It was getting late. But the bottom line is I walked out with 5 policies, one for each parent and each one for their 3 children. And it was like 6,600 AP in sales, and they would have bought from anybody who walked in their door because I was horrible at it. But like that and I'm glad that I went through that as my first appointment, because it just showed me like, wow, these people really are looking for insurance. Like they really want it. It's not me. Like they would have bought from anybody. So and that was like, these leads work. Like that taught me, because, like I sucked. So yeah, so now my in-home has gotten a lot better. Like I take control of the situation now. I don't let them because I asked for a table and they said, oh, the table's dirty. So I was like, okay, then let's go to the couch. That doesn't happen anymore.
Right, you're like, let's wipe it down.
Yeah, right? Yeah. No, like we're going to the table. Like I go to the table even if they don't, like, are you coming or not? Like I'm at your table.
Right.
But yeah, so of course I've gotten better, but only through like repetition. It's because I messed up so many times. Like I had nowhere to go but up.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that you talking about your first, your first appointment, that's huge, because it's like oftentimes we see new agents. And I know that when I was a brand new agent, I was like, I have to know everything before I go in, and I have to know what this product does and that product and when it's like, you don't have to know that. Mm-hmm. You just have to go in there with the willingness to care. Like you said, you have to know that this person filled a form out for life insurance, whether it was a direct mail lead, it was online, it doesn't matter. That they filled a form out for insurance, they're asking for help. And like you said, for the phone piece, like they're almost like they're bothering you.
Yeah.
Right? Like you filled the form out, so I'm going to call you 3 times back to back.
Yeah, like they're making me call them 3 times. Like, yeah, go through the hassle, like.
Right. Like I'm getting back to you.
Yeah.
It's your stance. Like, so Joe, next time don't feel, it's like, so. Yeah. Because it's like, I think about this, and Sean always brings up in the meeting, it's like, how many times have you filled a form out and sent it back in? Like,
never.
Yeah, same, right? So it's like, the people who are filling these forms, that they actually need our help. Mm-hmm. And I think that your example of your first appointment, and maybe almost like feeling like lack of knowledge or just lack of direction or whatever it might have been, you were able to persevere through that, even, at the couch, right? And like you said, I corrected that quickly. And you were still able to close and help that family. Mm-hmm. So it almost fell into like that 25-30% of people who, like you said, would buy from anybody, mm-hmm. right? But through that, you definitely have acquired a lot more skill over time, to say the absolute least. Yeah. And then what does that look like for you, kind of segueing into like kind of in-home, and maybe things that you feel like, people could pick up some small tips on and implement into their in-home today?
Well, first of all, like I realized like, because at first I was worried, like you said, like, I don't know enough about this product, this carrier, like, I don't have this carrier, I'm not ready. But I realized like they're buying you, like if they like and trust you, like they're going to trust that you're going to make the decision. I mean, you're not making the decision for them, but you're providing them the best options for them. So it's more about, like, if they like you, like they're going to trust that whatever you place in front of them, like it's best for them. So it's like it's about building, I don't want to say building rapport, because I made that mistake too. At first I built so much rapport, and then I just ended up being their friend and not their insurance agent. So you don't want that either, because at the end of the day, like, they need insurance, like we need to help them. Like, I'm sure having a kid making an extra friend is nice, but that's not the best way to help them. Like we need to get them covered. But I realized like I have to get like over myself. Like I don't need to know everything. I just provide value. Like if they see value in what you have to offer, it's going to decrease, chargeback and, all of the, like the buyer's remorse and everything like that. So I just help them see that this is it's like, it's not a bill. Like, and you mentioned this, like, I think a couple months ago, and it's like, it was so smart. Like, it's like, it's not a bill, but it's something that's going to pay their bills if something happens. Right. So it's not an expense. They're investing into their future and their family and making sure that they're protected. So I try to do that. Like I help them see the value and what they're like. Like CBO is great. Like I have one for myself just because I believe in it so much.
Right.
So it's like trying to get behind just the product and painting a picture of what this can do for their family. And you can't put a price on family. Like whatever monthly premium it is, like. That's not the focus. The focus is what this can do for their family in case something happens to them.
Absolutely. So you're able to kind of go into the home, lead, guide, direct, so to say, your client in the right direction, but through care of putting yourself in their shoes and saying, it's not, what it is, it's what it's going to do for your family, right? Yeah. So that's awesome. And then you tend to go into homes and, you write large premiums, and I think that attributes a lot to some of what you had just said. And I think that you're the kind of person that if I sat down with you, I would know how much you care, right? Because you do. But with that being said, what do you think are some ways that you do add value in home?
It's just, a lot of it is what I just said, but I just like place myself in their shoes and just really like if it's final expense, then I think what would I do if these people were my parents, and then you get your answer. It's and I kind of do that for all the families that I sit with because this is going to be the most important purchase in their entire life. And I've my husband is in the industry and I've seen him go through some like deaths of his clients and delivering the death benefit and how that really impacts the beneficiaries and like further generations. And I know like this isn't just a job and it's not just a business. We're literally going in there to change lives and legacies. So and that like I really do care a lot just because I've seen the aftermath. And I've also seen what happens when nobody is covered. Like I lost a friend during COVID and it happened like he didn't have insurance. And then we have to do a GoFundMe for him and I just felt horrible because, I'm an insurance agent. So I've seen both sides and you can't not care, So I think that just comes forth. I don't think it's because I do anything special or better because I'm not. And I do write higher premium sometimes, but it's because I just do go through so many leads. So it's like if you go through 20 and not find higher premium, that's because you only went through 20. But if you're going through like 200 every week or whatever, then you're gonna. It's just numbers. You're gonna come across it, not because I'm lucky or better or anything, or just because I just go through that many leads that it's inevitable.
Absolutely. And we'll wrap up or we'll kind of get wrapping up here with this, but how many appointments on a weekly basis minimum are you running?
I mean, the system here is you have to book 30. Yep. And then I've been sitting down, like I think I have a good sit ratio because, like I don't know, but like it's just I just use the script, but I think maybe it's just my tonality or something. Like now I don't get barely any no-shows or like cancellation or something like that. So because I'm able to sit down with more people, that's just attributes to more business.
So it all plays out with the numbers.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then kind of before we close out, Yoori, being that you produce at such a high level, like month in, month out, since you really kind of got the hang of the system, once you understood the system and you said, you know what, I'm going to plug in. Like that was it. Like it was game over. Like you were like ready. It was like a month after you issued like 98,000. And since then, again, you're issuing almost 50K or more every single month. What is one piece of advice that you could give to a new agent or to any agent maybe that's struggling and going through a rough patch right now that, you yourself went through or that, you could see somebody going through?
Just get started.
Just go.
Yeah, just go. Because, like I'm a perfectionist, unfortunately, and this is so not me to just do it, like without knowing how to do it. So it was really hard. But and I'm the type like if I mess up an appointment like at night, like in the dark, I'm like replaying it in my head, like and it's just kind of how I am. But you just have to get over that because like people always say, and like Sean Mike always says, like you're being selfish. Like if you don't make, if like it's so you're supposed to feel uncomfortable, but you're being selfish if you don't make the phone call and you don't go into the home because these people need our help.
Absolutely. So you're not scared to challenge the client in the appropriate manner to help their family.
No, sometimes sometimes it's like we know what they need more than them. So it's our job to like whatever it takes to get them covered because that's our job. Yeah.
I love that. And is there anything else that you'd like to say or close out with before we wrap up?
I think I mentioned it before, but the key factor here is just you need fresh leads. And I've said this to a couple of my agents. It's like leads are just inventory, right? So imagine you have like a sandwich shop. You're gonna have to buy new inventory every day. You know, what if a client walks in and it's like, oh, can I get a ham sandwich? And they're like, oh, sorry, like, yeah, we have it, but we don't have ham because we had it yesterday and it didn't sell, so we're not going to buy it anymore. Like, it's not going to make sense. Whether you make money, whether you sell anything or not, like, you need new inventory to have a business. So don't be scared. Just keep buying and, like, make sure to resolve every lead. And before you know it, you're going to produce at a level that you're gonna be happy with, and then it's a continual growing process. Like now I have new goals, and like it's just how it is, and we keep growing. But that's just the beauty of this company, that because there's no cap here, there's like we're not capped in our growth either. Like we have to continually strive to grow, and I love that.
Absolutely, that's awesome. And just before we wrap it up now, what are your goals, personal production-wise, to end the year? And then also, you started to grow a team, which is amazing. And a lot of it actually came from, you just, re-sharing things on Instagram and social media, which is pretty cool, and you brought in some great people who are ready to get started. With that being said, what is your goal for both personal production and team for the end of 2021?
So end of 2021, I told you, like literally today, I told you and Paul, like if I don't make Hall of Fame, like don't talk to me.
If you don't hit Hall of Fame, that means you stopped working today.
Yeah, so. I'm like, block me, like don't talk to me, like, like it's like, then I'm gonna quit, because I need to. So definitely Hall of Fame. And then for my team too, it's like, this is such a replicable like system. It's so easy. So I want everybody on my team to do 20,000 and more and just help other people. So, and yeah, I mean, definitely, like I need to hit VP as soon as possible. That's not even a question, but I want to, it's time to, like whatever, like now I figured out how to make money here. So now it's time to help other people do this.
Awesome. I love that. So being selfless. And Yoori, what's you have your logo now, which is really exciting. And you are
FFL Focus.
FFL Focus, so look out for her. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on, Yoori, today. I really appreciate it, and thank you all for watching.
Thank you for having me.